We're going to do 2 different sets of examples. The first one is we're going to talk about small business examples. Because small businesses are the most trusted institution in the United States by different groups all across. It's got like in the 90% of all different groups trust small businesses more than any other institution, and that's from the latest Gallup poll and the latest Edelman Trust Barometer. So it's not just an isolated thing I told you. Other people think the same thing. So since that has the broadest base of support, that makes sense for us to tap that in our communities. And so if we hold a project on a thing that most people trust, we're going to get better participation and cross more bridges. So do y'all remember cash mobs? Cash mobs. Nobody does these anymore, do they? Oh my gosh. You do?
Yeah, we did last year.
Locust Grove, Oklahoma.
Actually, it was in Pryor. But yeah.
It was in Pryor. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
A cash mob is you and however many people you can rally show up all at the same time at a business. And usually you set an amount of money. Usually this picture there, I've all got $20 bills. For Luling, they did $20 bills. Said, bring $20 and spend it. So you all show up at the same, we all are going to leave here, we're going to go to that little tiny bookstore down the street, and we're just going to all go spend $20 with them. It's this huge boost for the business. It's a show of support from the community, and it's so much fun to be there in a group, and there's this wonderful group energy. So this is Luling, Texas. Luling, Texas tapped the value of small business as a way to rally people across groups in their community, and they are so smart. Do you know what they picked for their first business? The liquor store. Hey, you want to come to the liquor store and spend $20? People are like, I got 50, I'll be there, right? Like, it's gonna work. It really taps people's interest and support of small business. And when you pick something fun like the liquor store or the beloved pharmacy that supports the entire town, and you go there, you tap those things that people already want to support, you're going to be able to cross some boundaries. And doing it, when you show up, you do have a small but meaningful part. You brought your $5 or your $20 or your $50. You brought your part. And you get to go be part of this experience, because when you all crowd into the little tiny liquor store together, then that's an experience, let me tell you. And it's something that they're going to be part of. And it's getting across the divides. So cash mobs. Now you may think, okay, nobody does those except Pryor, Oklahoma anymore. But just last week, Melody Warnick, who is the author of This Is Where You Belong, and she also just recently wrote If You Could Live Anywhere, she just spoke at the Institute for Quality Communities Placemaking Conference. And she said, cash mobs are still a good tool to give people a sense of attachment to their place in their community. There's that belonging. So they're still relevant, and they still do them at Pryor. I'm telling you, you can do one.
How do you decide which business to do it at?
Well, the liquor store was an easy target, right? Like, everybody wants to go to the liquor store. Another one that they did in Luling was the pottery shop, the local potter, because they were like kind of just getting started. They wanted to give them a boost. And one more sneaky trick on that was, I heard a town, it was a main street, I will not name them. They had one of those guys who hoards buildings. He had like 7 buildings downtown, 6 of which were empty, and the 7th had a business run by his son. They cash mobbed his son. And then the next week, he was in the Main Street office going, I'd like to talk about what you do. And she did not go, ha! Which is what I would have done. Which is why I can't be a Main Street manager. But I thought that was really smart, right? Like, so be strategic. Pick one that's popular. Like in my town of Alva, Oklahoma, we have a pharmacist that has been the pillar of the community for generations. People would come out of the woodwork to support Holder's Drug. That's a great one to start with. So there you go. All right, so moving on from cash mobs. Shop local. Who's still running a shop local campaign? Most of you. Okay, so these kind of fell back a little bit, and they have, too many of them are just a slogan. That's something like, you're a terrible person for not shopping local. This is not the experience we want to have. So this is another Deb story. So those of you that don't know Deb, This is Deb, right here, Deb Brown. And this is when she lived in, as described, Greater Franklin County. They always do this. Greater Franklin County, Iowa, was their Chamber of Commerce. They were doing a shop local. They decided to pick one product because that would bring everyone together. What is the one product that we all use? Toilet paper. And if you've met Deb or heard her on anything, then you know that she's going to tell toilet paper jokes everywhere she went for an entire year. And they went on the radio. We're on a roll! Oh my God, they were awful jokes. Let me know. I will make Deb produce the roll, probably the long list on a toilet paper roll of jokes. So they spent a year. They went to every store in the county and said, do you sell toilet paper? The convenience stores, right? Obviously. The grocery store. The Hispanic grocery store. Oops, almost forgot that one. The hardware store. The farm supply. Like, there's a lot of stores. This touches a lot of different parts of our community, right? And so they all now have the most heinous displays of toilet paper. The hardware store brought out a toilet, made a guy out of PVC pipe, and put him on the toilet holding a roll of toilet paper. And then a big sign, one of their big signs that says, buy one product local. So they did this for a full year. They had all the numbers right, like they ran the numbers. I think it's the toilet paper jokes that make it work. People were posting on Facebook, gotta go buy toilet paper. Wonderful. That's participation. When you can get guys to brag about shopping local on Facebook, then you are getting somewhere. Women are posing in the toilet paper aisle, holding toilet paper, grinning maniacally. And this is going on their feed, like this is on the gram. People will see it. And that's the kind of small but meaningful role that your slogan that says you're terrible for not shopping local cannot get for you. But this was stupid. But this gave everyone a small but meaningful role. And you really wish I hadn't. I know. Okay. But everybody had a small but meaningful job in this. And God, my brain is just swirling with bad jokes. And it was an experience. Was it an experience? Of course it was an experience. That's at the fair. They're at the fair with a giant booth full of toilet paper. Oh my God. All right, so